Well, what we're discussing today is we're going to continue on this theme of loneliness because loneliness is such an epidemic right now. And as you read in the last post, that loneliness actually does have cures, but even though we are such a connected society, there is an absolute epidemic of loneliness right now. To that end, we're going to do several different talks about how to cure loneliness, and some of it's kind of funny, some of it's pretty eye-opening. Here we go. Hi everyone. Lately, been talking about loneliness. And if you didn't read that blog post, go back and check that out because loneliness is something that is literally killing our society. It's almost equivalent to smoking 2 packs a day when it comes to your physical health. So it really is an epidemic. Now, I'm a business owner. I do financial services. Why do I keep talking about loneliness and some of these things? Because it directly affects our lives, but it also directly affects our business, all our businesses. And so it also affects our quality of life and our families. Now, today what I want to talk about are the 2 G's, the letter G, the 2 G's that can kill loneliness, and that is gratitude and generosity. This is really, okay, so what do I do next? How do I get rid of loneliness? Gratitude and generosity. Gratitude, the definition of gratitude is the quality of being thankful. It's readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. Just be nice, all right? That's what it is. Now, we have all the way from ancient history, and I'm going to quote something from Deuteronomy from the Old Testament of the Bible. Deuteronomy 26, that actually says, be grateful for the good things the Lord your God has given you and your family. Thankfulness. Let me quote somebody more recent. Oprah Winfrey. This is a great quote. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And that was an Oprah Winfrey quote. So gratefulness is something that as a human being, if we exercise, it will combat this loneliness. Comparing yourself to others is a gratefulness killer. And unfortunately, this is what a lot of social media kind of encourages. You know, we're checking out how other people are doing. We're checking out other LinkedIn profiles, and you know, our friend just got a promotion. We got so many searches this week. Are you looking for a career change? That's just LinkedIn. That's a professional one. We won't even talk about Instagram or anything like that because you know how it goes. But comparing yourself to others will suck the gratefulness out of your own life if you allow it to. If you're always concerned about your own needs, you will always find lack. And so, in the immortal words of Sheryl Crow, you know, in her song, I'm going to Soak Up the Sun, she says, and I love this, it's not having what you want, it's wanting what you've got. And so having gratitude for the things that you do have takes the focus off of what you think you lack to see everything and all the blessings that are really in your life. Now, how does this practice of gratefulness, how can you encourage that? Now, I've heard it said to do a gratitude and a gratefulness journal. I actually did that for a little while. It's fantastic. It was at the end of the day. Write down 3 things that day you're grateful for. And after doing this for about 30 days, it becomes a habit, and you actually change the neural connections in your brain to actually be more grateful. And so this is one way to kill loneliness in your life, because if you are grateful, you will connect with other people as well. Now, the second G, let's talk about that, and that is generosity. You can't be generous if you're not grateful. So, generosity. I like the way vocabulary.com defined this. They say, generosity is a quality that's a lot like unselfishness. Someone showing generosity is happy to give time, money, food, or kindness and people in need. The true definition, though, the definition of generosity is the quality of being kind and generous. It's abundance. So, how has the word, and this is so interesting, how has the word generosity been used over the last 200 years in books? And by the way, I like stumbled across this. This is some kind of Google Analytics thing that it actually showed over the past 200 years in books how much generosity was used in different books. What's so interesting, in the past 200 years, it has declined incredibly. So for all our modern cultures, for all our advancements in science, we seem to be less focused on generosity. As material wealth has increased, our focus on generosity has seemed to decrease. By the way, the culmination, or I shouldn't say the culmination, but the actual pit, the lowest point was the 80s. Way to go, 80s. Those are my people, go Xers. Anyways, sort of on topic, sort of off topic. I just found that fascinating, that generosity was used less, or is being used less now as a word in books as it was 200 years ago. Maybe we should get back to that ancient wisdom, right? Anyways, generosity in time and of yourself is what I'm talking about, combating loneliness. It is not just being generous with your finances, because usually, you hear this word, hey, we should be generous people, and we immediately think of money. Okay, sure, yeah, money. But we should be generous with ourselves. We need to be generous with actually having empathy for people, of caring enough about somebody else to listen to who they are, what are they struggling with, and actually giving them of yourself and your time. And that's the other thing, the hardest thing to be generous with, your time. And that is the thing that combats loneliness the most. Now, by being generous, you do have a physiological response. And I'll post this article here in this blog. But giving releases endorphins, giving you what's called a helper's high. So you actually get endorphins in your brain when you give. You've heard this saying, it's better to give than to receive. And it's like, well, I kind of like to receive. But it is better to give for your own personal health. But it also connects you with other people. The last thing I want to share is actually the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew 6, 2 through 4. And this is when Jesus was doing his famous Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount. But what he says, basically, just a short synopsis, if you give, do it truly because you want to give. In other words, give for the sake of giving, not to promote yourself, not to have recognition for it. Think about this. If you start practicing generosity and what you want is the recognition, whether it is from the stage of being a benevolent person or a plaque or whatever, you just distorted why you're giving, because now you're getting more self-worth from the recognition of others. The best way to give are to those who cannot repay you, not by recognition or by anything else. By doing that, guys, we really can kill loneliness. So, generosity and gratitude. Remember those two things. The next couple of blogs, I'm going to talk about specifically how we can kill loneliness, or I should say why killing loneliness is good for business, your outside business, and for your team as well. So I'll talk to you then.